Alexander Reed entered the luxury hotel that night, believing he was about to close the biggest deal of his life.
Almost everyone in the room knew Alexander, the successful CEO who had built his company from nothing.
But one man was watching Alexander for a completely different reason. His name was Victor Hale.
Victor had spent years competing with Alexander, and tonight he believed he had finally found a way to win.
Emma noticed Victor's strange behavior, but she had no idea what he was about to do. Victor finally walked toward Alexander, holding a glass of red wine in his hand. Victor smiled as if everything was friendly, but his eyes revealed something much darker. Then Victor raised the glass, and Alexander suddenly realized that something was wrong. Without warning, Victor threw the wine directly onto Alexander in front of the entire room. The ballroom became silent. Everyone expected Alexander to lose his temper. Emma rushed toward him, but Alexander calmly signaled that everything was under control. Victor laughed, believing he had finally humiliated the billionaire CEO. But Alexander didn't argue. He simply looked at Victor with complete calm. Instead of fighting back, Alexander quietly walked away from the crowd. Inside the private room, Alexander made a very important phone call. His first instruction was simple: review the $2 billion agreement immediately. Alexander wasn't calling about the wine. He was checking the deal Victor thought was already secured. The lawyer began checking every part of the agreement for anything that could protect Alexander's company. Then they found an important rule hidden inside the contract. The rule allowed the deal to be cancelled after deliberate public misconduct. Alexander needed proof before making his final decision. The security camera showed Victor walking directly toward Alexander with the wine glass. Then the footage showed the truth. Victor had deliberately thrown the wine. Emma finally understood why Alexander had remained calm after the humiliation. Only a few minutes had passed, and Alexander now had the evidence he needed. Back in the ballroom, Victor was still celebrating, believing he had won. Then Victor's phone suddenly vibrated. The message was shocking. The $2 billion deal was being suspended. Then Alexander returned to the ballroom, still wearing the evidence of Victor's attack. Victor stared at Alexander, unable to understand how everything had changed so quickly. Victor demanded an explanation, but Alexander refused to lose his composure. Then the security footage appeared on the large screen for everyone to see. Victor watched his own actions appear before every investor in the room. The lawyer explained that Victor's actions had violated an important part of the agreement. Marcus admitted that he knew Victor planned to confront Alexander. One by one, the investors began walking away from Victor. In less than 10 minutes, Victor had lost the $2 billion deal he thought was guaranteed. Marcus apologized, but Alexander answered him with calmness instead of anger. Emma asked Alexander why he had remained so calm after being humiliated. Alexander quietly explained that anger would have given Victor control over his actions. Emma finally understood that Alexander's greatest strength wasn't his money. It was his self-control. Then another message arrived from a new group of investors. They wanted to take over the $2 billion business opportunity. The deal wasn't gone. It had simply moved toward people who respected Alexander. Alexander and Emma left the ballroom together, leaving the night's drama behind them. Outside, the rain continued falling as Alexander walked confidently into the night. Behind them, Victor stood alone, watching the opportunity he had destroyed disappear. Alexander didn't win by fighting. He won by staying calm and letting the truth speak. Never mistake silence for weakness. Sometimes the calmest person in the room holds the greatest power. They threw wine on a billionaire CEO. 10 minutes later, their $2 billion deal was gone.